Time to sketch. Nope, this is sketching. As the Sketchbook Slam challenge is wrapping up, I wanted to talk about how I felt about it now that I have experienced it, and would I recommend it? So first I'm going to talk about my experience with this challenge, and then I'm going to talk about specifics, like go into detail about those points. So during the first week of this challenge, I absolutely loved it. I loved just sitting down and drawing, putting music on or putting on a podcast and doing studies and just having fun drawing. I don't know if it's because I fell behind later on that I started to hate it, or if I just got sick of my life being consumed by it, but halfway through, I was over it. I love drawing, I love art, but it became more of a chore when I forced myself to do it for hours when I had nothing I felt like drawing. I also started to feel guilty about using the sketchbook differently than I do, which really doesn't make sense. I did want to use this particular sketchbook for studies and drawing things I don't normally draw, and that's how I used it. But I started to feel guilty that I wasn't using it to sketch out ideas for illustrations. I think because it was just go, go, go that I didn't have time to think of a creative drawing, which honestly probably worked out for the best because when I have a really good idea for an illustration, I spend more time perfecting it and putting a lot more details into it than I should. So it was probably better that I wasn't coming up with really good ideas and wanting to make them look really good, because I didn't have time for that. Speaking of time, when I fell behind, I started to panic and stress, and my sketches got quick and sloppy, and although it's a sketchbook and that's what it's for, I just wish it was nice to look at. Because, let's be honest, if I wasn't making YouTube videos, the chances of me doing this challenge were going to be pretty low. Not only would I not have the time, but what would the point be? Sure, my art has improved a little bit, but I just don't think it's worth it. Things got worse and worse as the days went by, and I felt like it just wasn't something I was putting enough time into. Like I said at the beginning, studies are meant to be studied, not zipped past without really understanding why you're drawing what you're drawing. When it went from enjoying and studying to just fill up the page to get it done, it really felt like it wasn't doing its purpose as a sketchbook. I use my sketchbooks to put down ideas that I really want to draw. I enjoy my sketchbook. This was not enjoyable. I also didn't want to just draw one thing on the page and move on. I really had it in my mind that I needed to fill up the page more than that, which I think really held me back. It's also why I think this challenge is a little bit on the pointless side. If you aren't going to treat this sketchbook like you usually do by filling up the page, what's the point? Drawing one thing on the page and moving on is really cheap, and it's just not my style. Sure, you can say you filled up the sketchbook by drawing one thing on the page, but honestly, you didn't really fill it up. With that being said, I do feel like my art has improved during this challenge. Maybe not a whole lot, but a little bit. Enough. At least it's not pointless. I like to challenge myself to do stupid stuff like this. I hate it, but I'll look back at it and probably say it was fun, and although I wouldn't do it again, I don't regret doing it. I should also mention I have had zero pain from this challenge. I know a lot of people can have wrist issues when drawing too much, but to be honest, I rarely have pains or cramps from anything unless I do stuff like exercising, and forget exercising. So, should you try this challenge? The first thing you need to consider is your schedule, because honestly, it's the biggest factor in this challenge. Basically, do you have the time to spare? If you have a job, school, or any other activity, you will probably fail this challenge. Dave and I went skiing for 3 days, and I spent the rest of the challenge trying to catch up to those 60 pages. It was not fun, and I think it really caused a lot of stress for me to catch up, and it made the challenge not enjoyable. If you are a student and you have time off in the summer and you don't have a job, go for it. This is probably your only chance. It's probably just because I'm really bad at procrastinating things I don't want to do, but I had hoped this would get me into working faster and staying on task, but to be honest, I don't think it has really worked at all. But I think that's just a personal issue because I am really bad at doing good things for yourself. Second, consider why you want to do this challenge. Aside from the fact that I'm dumb and I like to do stupid things like this, mainly I wanted to force myself to draw daily and get into the habit of sketching. Although I won't even know if that worked until February. I also wanted to use this as a chance to draw random stuff I would never force myself to draw. Although this book is probably 25% figure studies, I think they are still helpful. I did a lot of 45-second figure drawings, so that definitely helped me look at the important parts of something and get them down faster. I also found this challenge to be really useful when trying to learn how to draw your original characters. In her Sketchbook Slam challenge tips video, Holly Brown mentioned having original characters to help you get through this, and I could not agree more. Whenever there was a time when I just didn't know what to draw, or I just really wanted to not have a lot of pressure on what I was drawing, I always fell back on my Hatch, Owlina, and Dennis characters. I really haven't drawn them that much, and I found this a really good time to get to know how their character designs, I guess, kind of mold into my style a little bit better. These are older characters and I haven't drawn them that much, so it was really useful to draw them over and over and over in different positions, see how they would act as characters, and just overall get to know my characters. So I'm sure I wouldn't normally sit down and draw them a lot, so I really enjoyed being able to do that. So that is something that I have really liked about this challenge, is drawing my original characters that I never draw. If you are wondering why I don't normally draw my original characters, I just like to constantly come up with new ideas and different illustrations. I love my characters, but I wouldn't want them in every illustration that I draw, so yeah. And I'm off topic. Also, consider, are you mentally strong enough for this challenge? That might sound really extreme, but if you don't have the will to finish a challenge, or you don't have the will to finish something that isn't completely necessary in your life, you might just end up dropping it once you become frustrated. This will be your life for a whole month. This is your life. If you are strong-willed and you don't like to fail, you are probably going to stick through it, and you'll probably do it because you don't like to fail. Failure is not an option. That's how I feel. There are so many nights where I just wanted to go to bed, but I ended up staying up when I was super tired just to finish my pages because I want to succeed in this challenge. Even if I think it's something kind of dumb, it's something that I want to succeed in because I don't like to fail. So, do I recommend the Sketchbook Slam challenge? I would say probably start off with something easier and then work your way up. Even a 300-page sketchbook in a month would have been so much more manageable than a 600-page sketchbook. Sure, it wouldn't be a challenge if it wasn't hard, but at least you would have more time to focus on studying and not just throwing things down on the page for the sake of filling them up. So, no, I probably don't recommend the challenge, but if you are someone that likes to succeed at stupid stuff like me, yeah, go for it. If you want to see how hard it is, go for it. If you are prone to pain in your hands, I would say maybe skip this challenge. If you have a life and you like friends, maybe skip this challenge. All in all, I don't regret doing it. I think I was having a lot of fun. I've drawn lots of things that I wouldn't draw, so I think that's really good. But in the end, it's a really ridiculous challenge. If you want to know what I'm drawing today, I just did some original character sketches and then did some horses because, as you guys know, I love to stylize and draw horses. So after this video is done, I'm probably going to go draw 10 pages of horses. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!